Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Yo, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Let's jump straight into it. What got you into consulting?
Yeah, I got fired from my job, actually. No, I didn't get fired. What ended up happening was I helped a home. Yeah, exactly. I helped a home service business go from $3 million to $5 million in revenue. And basically the owner was like, hey, you are so good at this. You need to go help other businesses. And he actually named my company Phlash Consulting, got me 2 other clients, and he became my first client. So I was doing so well at the job that I was like pushing him to grow. And he's like, you need to go help other people.
What were you doing at the same time as helping this first client? Was it your full-time job, or were you just doing this on the side?
No. It was my full-time job. I was director of business development at a $3 million home service business, and I was helping him grow. So he had been in business for about 20 years. He got to $3 million, and he needed to go to the next level. So I came in, and in the first year, he went from $3 million to $4 million, and then $4 million to $5 million. And I was really like pushing, and he was like, hey, I'm making more money than I've ever made. Like, leave me alone. And so it was just like a perfect fit where he's like, you need to go help other people.
This is the best way to run an agency. Like, have so good results that they just introduce you to the next client. That's amazing. So how do you explain that? How are you able to help that company grow from 3 to 5 millions? And what lessons can we learn as consultants from that experience?
Yeah, for sure. So at first I didn't know, like I was literally just charging hourly, like, hey, let me come in your business, and like work a couple hours and just like see my secret sauce, whatever. And about, I got my first 3 clients right away. He introduced me to 2 other people, and he was my first client. Then I sold my 4th client, and I didn't have any more hours to give. I was at 40 hours. I was charging like 50, 60 bucks an hour, something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I just sold another client, so I needed to productize my service. So I took my hourly rate and I turned it into what exactly do I do, which I distilled it down to 3 main buckets and about 11 different things. And from there, I had a productized service. So then I was able to figure out, okay, those 3 things: visibility, conversions, retargeting. How do we get new customers knowing about us? How do we convert them through our sales process? And then how do we retarget them to come back into our funnel? Good news is that it's all the same, whether it's consulting business or home service business. The playbooks are a little different, but the principles remain the same. You need visibility for your business. You need to convert the leads through your sales process, and then you need to retarget your past prospects and customers to bring them back into your funnel. So once I figured these things out, then what I had to do was figure out the playbooks and really dial them in to like, what exactly do I do for this, and this? And that gave me something to sell that was a productized service and not my hours.
What's the best way to get visibility today as a consultant, you think?
So my clients are thought leaders. They are educational first. We target $1 to $10 million home service businesses. So these are people that are not working in their business, they're working on their business, and they value education. And the places that they get educated is on podcasts, YouTube videos, some social media content for people that are actually sharing real value. So for me, the best place to find visibility is to get on podcasts and create value-driven YouTube content or newsletters or social content that helps people. So for most consultants, I would say that's the best place to start, because if you're a consultant, you should know how to do something or have some experience of doing something. That's the best place. Now, there's another layer to this, which is business-to-business partnerships, B2B partnerships. For example, like my business, we do digital marketing consulting for home service businesses. So a natural referral partner is a CFO for home service businesses, because they care about the numbers. So they're able to say, hey, you need to grow your business. Go talk to this marketing company. They do a great job. And that's another way that we get leads in. So those are the 2 big ones from a visibility perspective. When I first started, it was all just kind of like referrals, word of mouth. But as I've scaled the business, word of mouth is not predictable. It's nice that it comes in, but it's more passive. So I needed to do something that's more structured from a inputs, outputs perspective, which is content creation and controlling that lever for our business.
I love this. So where would you recommend starting though? Because you mentioned podcasts, YouTube, conferences, setting up a referral partner, network. Say
Yep.
you are a B2B coach or consultant, right? You're good at your job. You're growing steadily from word of mouth because one client brings in the other. The next one engagement turns into more engagement, which we're going to get back to afterwards. Like, what would you recommend consultants do if they are at that spot where like, okay, clearly I have the expertise and, I'm getting some SOWs and some letters and engagements, but how do I gain more visibility? How do I transform this visibility into leads? And how do I transform those leads into clients when you just have word of mouth? Where would you recommend allocating your resources?
Got it. 2023, I was in this exact boat. All my customers were word of mouth. I probably had 12 customers, clients, that were paying me monthly. So decent business. But I'm like, okay, how am I going to get to the next level? So what I did was I figured out, okay, where are my target audience hanging out? And they hang out, surprisingly, in Facebook groups. And what I found was that there are 3 main CRMs for home service businesses: Jobber, House Call Pro, and Service Titan. And I know all 3 because I worked in the trades. On Facebook, they have a group for Service Titan, House Call Pro, and Jobber. So I joined the groups. And what I did was 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I went into the groups. There's a search button in there, and I searched for marketing. And I found the questions that people were asking. So I said, marketing, here's all the questions that people are asking about marketing. Then I would answer their questions. I knew the content that I should be making because I have their questions right there, so I can make the content based off their question. And here's the secret sauce. I would record a Loom video and I would say, hey, Phil here. I'm in the same group as you. Here's the question you asked. Let me show you the answer on your website live. Here you go. And here's some other things you need to fix. Let me know if you want to hop on a call. And you can message people when you're in the group with them. You can message them DM. And it's a very natural way to take their problem and get right in front of them via a message, not just get in the comments with a bunch of other people. This was a really big catalyst for getting opportunities because it's right where my customers were at. And I'll tell you one other secret thing about how this played out. I was in these groups adding tons and tons of value. Jobber was one of the CRMs that I was in their Facebook group adding tons of value to their people. They said, hey, we're launching a podcast and we want you to be a guest on our podcast. So they actually flew me out to Las Vegas, put me on their podcast and paid me to do it. And my episode came out and I had 10 leads that came in just by being on this podcast, targeting all of the home service business owners that I already wanted to target. So you asked where I would start is figure out where your customers are hanging out and then go there and answer their questions and add value.
What was the name of the podcast?
It's called Masters of Home Service.
Okay, fair enough. We work with a few, and I was curious to know if it was one of them. We don't work with a master of home service. Is that what you said?
That's right.
Interesting. Fair enough. Okay, cool. I love this. So if I had to break down what you explained, Phil, it's go where your ideal client is. For you, it's Facebook group. For others, it might be conferences. For others, it might be influencers who are specifically in the niche. It might be a LinkedIn profile, but like getting in front of your ideal client is perfect. But then you went a layer deeper, which is go to the ones who are experiencing pain right now, asking questions about the problem, and provide them a tailored solution to their problem for free with a CTA towards taking the next step, which is getting into a call with you.
Exactly.
Absolutely love this. So once you do that, what I'm interested into understanding is we have the visibility part, we have the lead gen part. How do you go in your consulting practice from, okay, clearly we're engaging here, there is something happening, to the daily side, we are working together and let's rock and roll? How do you execute on that sales cycle?
I had to figure this part out too, because before it's just a warm lead, right? I hit them up and like, hey, let's work together. Let's have a meeting and see if we can work together. Cool. But when you start scaling up your content and you have people coming from all over the place, everyone's on a different like stage of where they're at to work with you. Some people are like, oh my gosh, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Other people are like, I heard a cool thing you said on LinkedIn. Like maybe you have something, nice to say. And like, maybe there's some engagement. So there's a good book on this. It's called Sell Like Crazy. I have it right here. Sell Like Crazy from Sabri Subre. Basically, what he says is that you need to have what's called a high value content offer. High value content offer. So we have two. We have 11 ways to get new customers, and it's a 27-page ebook thing that someone could download. That's a really nice giveaway. And then we have 7 secret things that digital marketing companies don't want you to know because they're robbing you blind. And so basically, those 2 things on your website are downloadables. And then you go into our email newsletter, which we send out. So originally it was just get their number, call them, set up a meeting on Google Meets or whatever, and talk with them. And that can still work. Now we average about 20-ish to 20 to 30 leads a week. And it's because we have all this content and everything. So people come to our website and we need to have something for them to download or interact with. And that's why we have those high value content offers. Then they go into our weekly email newsletter. The email newsletter, we actually take our greatest hits from the week. So social media posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, call to actions, giveaway things. And we put that into a newsletter and send it out. And then every week we're nurturing those people through to a call to action. And the call to action we did originally was to have an audit. So we would audit your marketing stuff. That's kind of vanilla. So now we've identified that there's 7 main playbooks that every home service business needs to grow. And on the call, we'll actually show you those 7 playbooks live on your business and how you can implement them. So that's our call to action now that we kind of bring people to. When they book a meeting, we have a nurture sequence that leads up to it. And then on the call, we have just one product that we sell. So we don't have like a la carte type of things. We just sell this product, and usually it's either a yes or no. We have a saying, drag them in, drag them around. So we try not to drag people in the door. We let them go through our nurture sequence and our content and get a vibe for us. And then they decide to either have a meeting with us and decide to work with us or not.
I love this. And I have so many follow-up questions. Okay. So first thing is back to your lead magnets. So I love this. And I hear a lot of B2B coaches and consultants saying like, hey, the lead magnets playbook doesn't work anymore. You know, like it's the game has changed. And I'm like, no, poor lead magnets do not work anymore because people have downloaded a gazillion white papers and a gazillion ebooks. They didn't get any value out of it. And so now when you have an ebook or like whatever, a quiz that doesn't bring any value, you're not going to get anything out of it for sure. But great ones still work. So you mentioned 2, I love them. When we go on your website right now, there is a pop-up for a webinar, or like we can register to something that you do, what seems to be live on November 11th. Is that another lead magnet that you're playing with right now?
Yeah. So right now that one's live, but our like just normal one is the seven ways that digital marketing is robbing you blind. No. You're absolutely right that white papers and downloads, people don't like it. Here's what I'll say about that is that my content is very valuable. Like I give the recipe and sell the cooking. So people that watch something that from my stuff or hear me talk, they're going to know that there's going to be more value when they download something. It's not just like some fluffy thing, right? You hear me talk and I give it all away. So naturally, if you download something, you already think it's going to be good. So you're right that it's fluffy, but it's people are not just going to randomly show up to your website and download something, right? You got to like, you know, get them going. The webinar, yes, the webinar is another lead magnet that we do. We did a webinar. I do a lot of webinars with Jobber. This company from the podcast has turned into webinars and stuff. Naturally, I wanted to do webinars for my business. So the last one we did, we did one 2 months ago. We had 58 people registered for the webinar. We had 20 people show up, and then we had 3 qualified bookings from that webinar that we ran. This webinar probably have something similar to that, but those are pretty decent numbers inside of your webinar funnel. And if you did one every single month, you'd have a solid lead flow coming through.
Of this. Second question is, a lot of B2B coaches and consultants will be a bit secretive about their pricing, right? They'll just be like, hey, you know, I cannot really help you without looking under the hood, which also makes sense, in my opinion. When we go on your pricing page, there is like the price right away. It's like you have the H1 and then you have the price. Can you walk us through this a bit? Like why do you display them? What does that bring you? And would you recommend people do that?
Yeah, so every consulting business is different. Like my business, we're just like extreme transparency. And like, we know that we have the product market fit like perfectly because I was in their shoes. Like I solved the problem that our avatar has. So for example, I know that if you're between $1 and $10 million in revenue as a home service business, you should be spending 3 to 10% of your revenue on marketing. So I know that my price fits in 3 to 10% revenue on marketing plus ad spend on top. So like we're all good. There's no, I shouldn't hide behind it. Like I never get price objections because I know that for a fact, it all lines up. Okay. The second thing is that I price anchor myself. Like people come in and book meetings because this is the price. Like they're not shocked by the price of things. It's like, this is the price of things. No matter who you work with, this is how much, like on my pricing page, I have it outlined. Like if you're going to hire a videographer, it's this. If you're going to have this, it's this. This is how much all this stuff costs. And it actually elevates me as a subject matter expert opposed to like giving away all my stuff. Like I just did a podcast on my podcast and I said, hey, I'm not going to be the cheapest. I'm going to be the best. So if you want the cheapest, go find someone else. If you want the best, you should probably work with us.
I love it. And I think this is a famous quote from Alex Hormozy, which is, there is only one winner in a race to the bottom. It's the cheapest. There is very little advantages to being the second cheapest. So you want to differentiate, you want to offer a great service, and you want to be outstanding and have a good product. So I love how you've enabled your sales motion, Phil. What happens next? So you get into an engagement with the clients. And so back in my PricewaterhouseCoopers day, the partner who taught me everything was like, Guillaume, there are two types of consultants, the farmers and the hunters. And he was like, I'm a hunter. I love the smell of fresh blood in the morning. I love to go after new business. That's what I do. I hunt new business. But the consultants making us the most money, the most successful partners are the farmers, because they're able to take an initial engagement and transform it into a multi-layered, multi-year project that's going to feed the whole team and, adjacent teams to the PwC team that we were starting with. How do you do that? How do you maximize retention once you sign an engagement? How do you provide so much value that the client wants to work with you more? How does that whole thing, deliverables and operation work on your side, Phil?
Yep. So we have 3 consultants on our team, and they get a book of business, and they get paid off of the clients that they have. So we're on performance pay. So they get a base pay, and then when they have clients, they get paid a base pay off of their clients. This allows everyone to be mutually incentivized. If we lose a client, everyone loses. If we gain a client, everyone wins. This is across the board in our company. Like that's how it works. Then the client gets great service because it's not me as the bottleneck. They get our team that is incentivized to keep them, going. We have a salesperson who takes the intake calls, books them into our process because now we have playbooks and it's easy to understand like what we do and break it down. So then we sell them. They get paired with a consultant. As far as retention goes, this is the biggest issue that I found because again, I face all these problems. So like, I know what it's like to work with these people. So like I could just build the product that I wanted. So for example, here's a big one. Most marketing companies just say, spend more on ads. They don't know your return on ad spend numbers. They don't know your actual CRM data. They don't know how to put automations inside of your sales funnel and your CRM. And so you would love to have someone who did all those things and actually reported back to you as almost like a fractional marketing team. That's what my company does. So the retention piece is we actually pull their data from their CRM, Jobber, House Call Pro, Service Titan. And then we are building a narrative that says, okay, you got 100 leads, but you only booked 20. Are the leads bad or is your booking process bad? Let's go and listen to the leads, the lead calls. Okay, the leads were good. Your booking process is bad. How do we fix this? Okay, you got this many estimates and you only close this much. Do you have a good estimate net nurture sequence or not? So as far as retention goes, it's we have a Phlash acronym for all of our core values. The P is literally for partnership, because it is a true partnership and our team looks at it as a partnership. We talk in we's and us's, not you and you guys. So from a retention perspective, it's very like I think our average retention right now is 2.5 years for clients. So strong retention. We have over 100 5-star reviews. We just won Inc. 5000 best workplaces. So like we have a lot of good stuff going. And I think it's like we have great team. We have a great product and service. The clients have good results. We had 2 clients in October because we pulled their numbers. So we had a client in October. They went from 200,000 revenue last October to 400,000 this October. So doubling. And then we had another client that was at like 200-ish thousand revenue last October. This October, $530,000 in revenue. So we're pulling the numbers out so we can justify what's working and what's not, and then help coach them through this process. So it's not just like a vendor relationship.
I like it. Get great results for your clients, and they will want to stick with you and go to the next step.
Exactly.
Where are you stuck right now, Phil? The reason I'm asking you this is clearly you know your craft, you know what you're doing, you know your niche. And I like to ask my guests these questions because people listening to us right now when the episode goes live might be stuck at the same point. And it's always interesting to hear from your peers how they are thinking about the problem and like walking around it. So where are you stuck and how do you go about solving that problem?
Yeah, I can share two things because I'm almost at the end of one stuck piece and then I'm going into another stuck piece. So about a year ago, yeah, maybe it's helpful for people. About a year ago, I was really stuck in the business. Like I was the director of operations. I was kind of like the bottleneck on that. I was also the salesperson and I was running sales on that. And I basically was like, I had plateaued at where I was at. You know, like I think when you get to around like the $1 to $3 million in business, you can only get so far as the hustler. And then the hustler has to die. The leader has to be born. That was me a year ago. Okay. So I read the book, Buy Back Your Time from Dan Martell. And he laid out this replacement ladder, which was like hire an executive assistant, outsource delivery, outsource marketing, outsource sales. Then you're the manager and eventually outsource managing. So a year ago, I went through that exact steps. So over the last year, I went through the exact steps. Over that time, my company doubled in revenue. So, which is great. And I was able to go to these levels, but now it unlocked a new problem, which is I need a better process for hiring people. Like I need to have a bench of people. I need to have a proper onboarding process. I need to have training to get them up to speed faster. All of those things are the issues that I'm facing right now, which is I have the lead flow coming in. I have a salesperson who's responsible for sales. I have consultants that are delivering a great product and service, but I need that other lever on the other side now, which is like, how do I get people into our like knowledge base and process and system and like culture quicker?
Love it. Sorry, I seem to have internet issues. Sometimes it cuts off a bit, but I heard you, Phil. Okay. So a quick question on that. What made you, I mean, I think it's parallel to this. What made you not go into other niches? Like, why did you decide to stay focused on home service businesses and, being like, hey, since this works for home service businesses, I might as well just do it for other businesses and other industries. What kept you within the niche that you started in?
Well, the first thing is that I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I had 28 technicians and 14 routes and 4 CSRs that I had to keep busy every single day. And that was my job. So I can look at another business owner and tell them without a shadow of a doubt that I know exactly how it feels because I was in their shoes. And in fact, I helped them, the client go from the business from 3 million to 5 million and then sell to private equity. And I was sitting at the table with the private equity company explaining all of our processes and everything that we do. So it's very natural for me to be able to articulate that to someone else on the other side of the table because I've been there. When I first started consulting, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I was literally just like, sure, I'll take this client. Sure, I'll take this client. Sure, I'll try this. I'll try that. At one point, like this was when I really like literally first started. I was a sales consulting with a SaaS app, and we flew to Harvard to pitch all of these doctors on this app that he has. Okay, nothing at all with like what we do, but I was still like kind of figuring out what my secret sauce was or what I did. It wasn't until I got referred to the other home service business, I was like, okay, this is my lane. That's the first thing. The other piece was, you mentioned Hormozy. He talks about like one avatar, one channel, $100 million, $1 million of like that. So I said, okay, cool. Like I'll just do that. I know that I can focus on one avatar. I know that I can get a good product and service for those people and I can get to $1 million. And then the last piece is that the $1 million to $10 million customers that we service, the pitch that I just gave you, which was like, I know that they can afford us at the price that we have, is like bulletproof because they can't say anything. And I know that we can deliver a great service and we have the delta and it all fits perfectly. So it's like, why would I change anything and just like go do more of that?
Respect that. And I like it a lot. And you have the whole story behind it, right? That's what you do. That's where you've been. You know how this works. You're going to be able to help other people in that space.
Exactly.
What's the next big thing for you, Phil? Like, where do you see the biggest opportunity in digital marketing consulting in like the next 6 months?
Next 6 months, man, I have a YouTube video coming out next week about this, but we were just on our sales training this morning with my team. And it's really in the AI avatar space, specifically for like I have an avatar of myself, Phil, where it takes all my podcasts, all my SOPs, all my content, and then digests it and puts it into an AI avatar that my team can access at any time. Like right now, if they have a question, they can go there and ask it, and then it will cite the sources of like where the data is. Okay. So like that's really cool. But our clients want that for their business as well. And I believe that in 2026 on websites, instead of like a chat widget in the corner, there's going to be AI avatar widgets that you can ask questions to and interact. And then it will actually like sell a little bit and like book appointments for you. It's almost there with Synthesia, but it's not quite there yet. So that's my big thing that we're working on as a company is how do we extract the information from our clients and use that. A lot of times in marketing, still to this day, which is crazy to me, people just go to ChatGPT and use regurgitated stuff. And they're looking at it wrong. What they should be doing is taking their call recordings, taking their meeting recordings and using that as the foundation, and then having AI come alongside it as a co-pilot to refine the messaging and refine the information to be the output. And that's really what our message is as an agency, is that we're not just reselling ChatGPT junk. We're not just telling you to spend more on ads because we have your actual data. We're more consultative in what we do. And we're actually pulling your real stuff. We're using your real stuff that's happening out in the field and in your office and tying it in and having AI refine it. So that's the big thing that we're focused on over the next 6 to 12 months.
Love it. Phil, ladies and gentlemen, Phil, if people want to find out more about you, about Phlash Consulting, where should they go?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Phil Risher, that's my personal place where I kind of hang out. We do these audit things. So if you're a home service business and you're like, what are those 7 levers? What are those playbooks that I need to see? You can go to phlashconsulting.com, PHLASH consulting.com, and set up a time there. We also have this webinar that you mentioned that's going on right now. We're talking about how to run giveaways for your home service business to crush shoulder season, because I know that hurts a lot of people. So those are the best places to hang to touch base. I love giving away the recipe and selling the cooking. So like I'm down to be a resource however I can help anyone out.
The knowledge away for free, sell the implementation. What's shoulder season for my personal knowledge and curiosity?
Yeah. Don't ask someone in HVAC. They're going to be like, what? How do you not know about this? So basically January, February, March is shoulder season, where there's not much business going on because it's just cold, but people's heat is working unless they get no heat calls, but there's not like active things happening for a lot of businesses. In landscaping, it's like, it's cold. You can't go cut people's grass. It's like in the home service space, there's not much going on in the hibernation season. So usually those 2 or 3 months, it's like pulling teeth trying to get your schedules full and jobs on the board. And you need to have a game plan for that. Don't just say, oh, it's shoulder season.
Love it. We'll put all the links in the description. Phil, thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.